Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk About It Tuesday. I'm Angelica with This is Improv, and today we have a very special guest, Quintin Hess. Hi, Quintin.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. And I really, really like your background.
Thanks. Simple.
It looks astral, like there are stars.
There actually are on the other side.
I just really?
Have it backwards. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just needed a white sheet for a blank background.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Quintin?
Sure. What to say really? I went to school for acting and writing back at a school called Juniata in central Pennsylvania. I graduated in 2012 and then always liked acting and performing, and though I knew I didn't really want to run off to New York or LA and be a small fish in a big pond kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so didn't really do much with acting for a while after college, and just lived in Colorado to just explore life, and worked at a theater for a bit. Then after losing a job out there, I was like, I'm gonna go to Chicago and try the improv world out there. And I've been out in Chicago since 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So been there for a little bit now and loving it. Took a lot of improv classes, did a few shows here and there.
That's awesome. So what is life like in Colorado versus life in Chicago? I've never been to Colorado, that's why I ask.
Yeah. It's definitely different. I miss the nature and beauty of Colorado for sure. It's it was nice to be able to just hop on my bike and be in a mountain in 30 minutes.
Oh, cool.
Can't really do that in Chicago.
No.
No. So I definitely miss that side of things. And also all of the beautiful sunshine all throughout the year, even when it's snowing, it's sunny, weirdly enough. But Chicago's my first big city I've lived in. I grew up near New York, but didn't live in it. And for a big city, I really like it a lot. Everything is at your doorstep, but still it's got its nice little neighborhoods and feels like you got your own area of sorts.
I remember last time I was in Chicago, which was maybe 2-3 years ago now. I don't know, time. And we were able to walk through, there was this really cool park, and then there was a beach by the lake.
Yeah.
And I'm Florida, so beach to me means ocean, right? And that's not how it is. And it's just so cool because in Chicago, I go during the summer, and here during the summer, if you go outside, you're turned into bacon. And so when you go out in summertime, you see people on bicycles, you see people having picnics, you see people taking long walks, and it's that I'm watching a movie about Perfect Town, and people are just living their lives outside. It's really cool.
Yeah, the lake definitely, and the lakefront area definitely surprised me when I first moved here as well, and how I grew up in New Jersey, so I was near the shore a lot, and there was I was like, oh, it's not, there's no beaches here, this doesn't count. The first day I got there, it was very foggy and I couldn't see the rest of the lake, and I was like, it's just a lake. Then the fog cleared out and I was like, oh, it's a great lake, I get it. Yeah, but people definitely soak up the summer when we have it.
And so you moved to Chicago and started doing improv. What got you started? You talked about in school you starting with doing drama, doing acting. Mm-hmm. What do you think was your beginning? This is the moment that started it all.
At my school, we had a lot of, we had two main theater professors, but then we had a thing called the Gravity Project, which was a lot of rotating staff that had different fields and interests within theater. Mm-hmm. And one person that came was somebody from Chicago that taught us some improv for a couple weeks.
Oh, cool.
And I really enjoyed it, just playing around, and I think it spoke to my character actor side rather than just being I got to be the lead. just getting to be goofy and tap into that childlike sense of play I always enjoy. So I always enjoyed it, and I figured, why not try again in Chicago?
So what did you get? We met through doing an improv immersion in Second City over the summer. And I know you bounced around to doing different styles of improv. And what did you take from the different styles?
It was such like a whirlwind, because I made it was a good idea but bad idea to take a lot of things all at once, so things kind of muddied together. Yeah, I did what one of my teachers called like the improv grad school, where I basically went and took like classes at Second City and IO and Annoyance at the same time, and it kind of became just a weird miasma of well, so there is some differences. Like Second City, they definitely are focusing more towards improv for use as a tool towards sketch. And you definitely feel that when you go through the conservatory program, which I did like a year or so after being in Chicago. And then IO, they teach like long form improv. They are like the home of the Herald, and they have a very they definitely want to teach their philosophy and Dell's philosophy and all that, which this was a few years ago, and like I said, like a muddy miasma, so it's hard to like say exactly what that is, but and then Annoyance, it's more like their main philosophy seems to be like protect yourself first, or take care of yourself first. Every other school, it's like focus on your player or your teammate. But in this, it's like if everyone's taking care of themselves, then you don't have to look out for each other.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did you connect with that? Because I don't know, there's almost like, yeah, because every other school, it's like, oh, we're a group. This is how ensemble works. And we're a community, and it's democratic. But how was it with the take care? How did you feel specifically as an individual about that philosophy? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it was, especially since it was the last one I went to after going to the other two. It was a bit of like a hard right or a hard turn I was like not ready for. And I'm somebody that like gets a little hung up on like how's this person feeling, like even outside of improv, like just I'm like always worried about how I'm making someone feel, or self-conscious, I guess you could say. But
what is that word? I don't know what you're talking about. How are you doing? How's the interview going? Are you feeling okay? Is everything okay? Great.
Hey, okay. It was a little odd to like suddenly be so self-centered and be like, all right, am I good? So I enjoy it, but I think I prefer other kind, because there were times that like I think some people took that philosophy to a different degree than they should have. Like I'd go and participate in their mixer kind of show, which was called Fishbowl, I think. And they just throw you up with some people and like, go ahead, do a little like 10-minute bit. And some people seemed to take care of themselves to the extreme of just being self-centered. Which maybe that was my own like well,
this is what I learned recently, and I think this is the basis of how literally teaching in a school and teaching for performance, the idea of ensemble happened. I started reading Improv Nation, and it's a really good book. I totally recommend it. And they talked about the beginning of improv for the stage and how they started building ensembles, and the ensembles were constructed of actors. So they're used to, theatrical, I'm the main player, I'm the main character or whatever. I'm going to take over the stage with my presence. And it was conflicting with with creating things on stage. They weren't able to solve problems together. It was, let me highlight myself instead. So Theodore Flicker, working with Del Close and expanding to New York, invented rules that you have to stay by, like yes and making it a rule so that people could agree on stage, and he wouldn't really have to work with egos. He would just say, hey, there is a set of rules. We have to work together, and then we can make this happen without any mistakes. It works every time. Just follow the rules, guys. You'll be fine. So I think that's where it started. But I understand, and that's why it's interesting, the concept of focusing on yourself, because you tend to, especially like in improv, in life, you have that mentality of like, I need to take care of everyone is important, and then you could focus too much on that. Theoretically, you could say, you could put too much focus and then harm yourself in the process. So like the balance seems like it would be really cool.
Yeah,
which is why it was interesting, like, whoa, what, focus on yourself? That's
sure.
cool.
Yeah, it definitely seems like there's like, if you can find a good balance between it, where like you're trying to take care of them, but then if they seem good, then you can focus back on yourself, kind of thing, might be a good like way of keeping both in mind, kind of. Because if that person seems like they're good, you don't need to take care of them necessarily. Obviously, like, don't step on their toes and talk over them and whatnot.
that would be nice to listen.
Yeah. Listen and then respond instead of just, well, let me prepare what I want to say.
Yeah. And how do you feel, we're talking about listening, we're talking about taking care of yourself, taking care of everyone else. How do you feel improv has helped you? How do you use it today?
I've thought about it before, because like my day job is working as a special ed classroom assistant, and that's not a field I ever thought about getting into. But I remember during my interviews, they asked me, like, they knew that I had theater and improv background and wondered how that would help or anything, which is a valid question, like random guy that has a theater background trying to help teach. But it's definitely helped me in like having an improvisational like background and having a ability to kind of take in and process information and take in and process situations on the fly is important in that kind of job, and in general, I think, because then I can easily bounce around. Like I started off as a recess aide, so I was kind of just at I was with like kindergarten, second and fourth grade for their recess, and like you'd have one kindergartner come up and want to play like laser tag with you, like fake laser tag, and then another kid comes up telling me that like their friend called them mean, and so you have to kind of like balance and immediately like jump into their mindset and take on what they're thinking. I hope that answers kind of in some way.
That's really cool. It's like you had the training to be put on a kid's level, right? Like kids naturally play, but we have to almost relearn how to play. So you already had it. You're on the recess field, like, I got this. Let's play.
It's funny though, you have to like, when you work in this field, you kind of like realize how quickly like they start losing that feeling of play in a way. Like even like somewhat like it's like their own like personal pressures, like, oh, I have to be cool, so I can't like goof around with my friends, and it's like, so I try to be like an example, like, yeah, you can still be weird and goofy even though they're sitting there judging me like, I'm in fourth grade and this is too weird.
Oh, that's so cool. It's so cool they have you there, because that sucks to watch it fade away. And I seen, when I do the stockies on the social medias, some of the notes that the kids write and like some of the things that they do for you, like I thought I saw a post a while back of like a note or something like, thank you, Mr. Hess, or something. And just like all those gratitude messages and moments that you posted about where you're helping these kids, just feel good about themselves. And it's cool to watch,
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about the job. Like, even though like I've shifted it into more of like education than care, I guess, because like the recess part was more childcare in a way, because you're more dealing with the social emotional side of things. It's still like I try, when I get to have those moments where I can like help them understand themselves, or like hopefully like give them a moment that when they look back they're like, oh god, I'm glad Mr. Q told me that was important. those are the moments that really like warm my heartstrings or whatever.
And so you're working there, you're teaching, you're molding young minds and trying to make them flourish and flower and have butterflies land on them and pollinate other flowers. What do you have any projects in the work? Are you doing any theater still or any improv?
It's definitely gone on a little bit more on the shelf during COVID times, but I'm sure that's the case for many.
Yes.
Last year, right before before everything happened, I started working with the Murder Mystery Company, which is like a national troupe thing but they have a Chicago troupe, and I was doing that a bit, and obviously that was put on hiatus during all this, but recently I joined their Zoom murder mystery troupe, so that's
very cool.
That's kind of what I've been doing a little bit to keep the performance side of myself alive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and only really just started like this week, so it's been a lot of fun though, getting to like play around and be a character, even if it's through a screen.
And how is it doing murder mystery on Zoom?
It's surprisingly smooth. Like they have
cool.
a good formula for it. Like we give out some usually there's just the detective, and then I'll be like an extra character in case the audience doesn't have enough people that want to play. And then like the audience gets assigned a character, and they can they have a website just for their character that shows like their bio, and then at a certain point the detective says like, here's a code to enter for the next page, and that's when they find out their next clues. Then we have like breakout rooms, and they get to like interrogate me or other suspects.
That's really cool.
It's surprisingly well done, like how like they immediately switched it to being virtual.
Yeah, well, I think murder mystery is so unique in that aspect. I mean, you know, to base it down, you have Clue, and then like taking the Clue concept, which I know there are different styles, but the idea of, you know, the tabletop game, and then you guys would do it in person, which is nice. It's immersive and everything, and then you have it on Zoom. It's it's transmedial. You can use it really in any format, and it's, you know, and you guys are talented, you're fun. So, well, you're fun. I haven't seen your troupe. I don't know anything, but I'm guessing based off what I know about you that it's a fun experience, and from what you're saying. So yeah, it sounds like really cool.
Yeah. In general, I'm like I said, I'm impressed at how they transferred everything to be like a new medium, but it's also been so crazy seeing like a lot of other people at least in the Chicago improv community and elsewhere, like you guys doing your shows online, and like they're doing more stuff online now. How under pressure like artists can create things in different ways. Like, yeah.
We're diamonds, right? We sparkle in the darkest of situations. I think it's cool. A lot of us are talking that in the improv community that this is probably not going to go away. The virtual aspect, it's going to, you know, things are going to get better. But that's not going to go away. It's going to be an option for us to use, and for people who might not be able to have access to the theater for whatever reason, might not have access to go to a rehearsal for whatever reason, and does have access to an internet, to Wi-Fi, to a computer, would have the opportunity to either watch or participate in said form of theater. So it's pretty cool. Sucks, but it's pretty cool that we're given this opportunity to experiment in this new genre or new medium. I think it's pretty cool. I miss everything. So much. It's nice that we're able to experiment. And by the way, I'm very curious, and I'm sure everyone who's been watching this is very curious as well. What is the name of your murder mystery troupe?
It's literally called the Murder Mystery Company.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's an immersion theater company, AIT. They do, like, there's a ton of murder mystery shows, but then they also have like princess parties when we're able to do things in person, where like people that come as like Disney princesses show up to like a birthday party and interact with kids, or superhero for a day. They have like a few different things. I hope that the owner of the company doesn't watch this and suddenly be like, that's not called superhero of the day, or what. I'm sorry, Scott, I don't know. I'm new.
Well, he should be very proud, because now anyone can look this up and participate in the fun, or anyone else from the troops all over the United States, the world, the world, or the United States.
They've done some international shows.
Oh, cool.
Especially now that with Zoom, like some people have talked about like waking up at like 2 a.m. to do a show for some kids down in Colombia, and yeah, like I haven't done anything like that, but I know they also were on like were briefly on a cruise line, so yeah.
Wow, that's pretty. Oh, the murder cruise line. Dun dun dun.
It's just like one of those like a how murder mysteries oftentimes take place on like a train or somewhere where nobody can leave. We're trapped in a snowed-in cabin, and one of you killed us.
We have something like that down here. It's some train line, and I've never experienced it. Someone's told me about it, but it's a train that's like that. Oh, so cool. The cruise must be a lot of fun, because you're literally trapped in the ocean. But Quintin, it's been fun. I have one more question for you.
Okie doke.
Most important question. Are you prepared?
I think so.
Okay. What is something about you that no one could tell about you just by looking at you?
I used to have hair. No. Not to sound braggy or anything, but I've traveled a ton. I've been to 13 different countries in the past 10 years.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah, brag away. Talk about it.
I don't normally I know it's a privilege, so it feels very braggy to have that option or have that opportunity. Yeah, in college I did like a 2-month solo backpacking trip in Europe, and before moving to Chicago, after losing my job, I did 3 months in Southeast Asia.
Oh.
And since I work in a school, I have like summer and winter breaks, so I try to like do a little trip during those each time.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, right before all of this happened, went to Quebec for New Year's and stuff.
That's awesome.
I was like, well, I like just turned 30 this year, so I was like, I'm gonna bring in my 30th year in like a fun way. I never celebrate New Year's, so I'm gonna try something new.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good way to rein it in, and it was a good like last hurrah before having to lock myself in my apartment forever.
Yeah, no kidding. I think we all felt it coming. I was talking to my sister before everything closed down. We had like all our friends over. We had a fire pit. It's like, then we never saw each other again. But it's cool that you got to experience all these places. And I think that it has so much to do with, being able to mold to different situations and build different characters. Like, you have great characters, and I think that it has so much, it's an assumption, but I think it has so much to do with experiencing all these different people, all these different locations, having almost an empathy or an empathetic perception of what everyone is experiencing. And you're able to look at these things, which, you're lucky to be able to do that, but it's still, you have to be willing to go out, and you have to be willing to look at that and open yourself up to that. So that's pretty cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it's important to have take in as many perspectives or whatnot as you can, because Second City emphasizes point of view, and it's important to be able to see things in another way. I don't know, and not to pat myself on the back. Thanks.
You have arms that extend enough, right? Elbow? Yeah, there you go.
One thing I did want to say, you mentioned my characters a little bit, and I think that may be partly from that, partly from just like being interested in people, and also like, I guess this is a bonus thing you might not know about me.
Yeah.
Not from looking at me, but from hearing me. I used to have I don't remember it, but I apparently had a pretty noticeable speech impediment until like 3rd grade or so. My mom said it sounded like I was from like every country, a bunch of different countries, and none of them had English as a first language. I don't know what it sounded like. I wish I had found a recording of it, but
she never took a home video of you. Just no.
There's probably like when me and my brother would do fake news interviews and stuff with each other somewhere around, but I can't find them. The reason I mention that is just because like I think when I went through like speech therapy in 3rd grade or 2nd grade or whenever it was, I got kind of an interest in like placement of voices or like how sounds are made. So like I'm like, I can, if I just pinch this part of my face, if that makes sense, like internally,
it suddenly makes it more nasally, and then suddenly it's up here, and that's all I need to do to get my voice to be up here.
That's so cool. Like, you have it down to mechanical science.
I'm like, I geek out over it a bit. I'm like, yeah, just lift up this part of your tongue. It's like, what? Not everyone really thinks about their face as like a bisection.
Yeah. On that topic, if you guys want, anyone who's watching and who is interested, looking up linguistics and looking up just the English language and looking at the background, it's pretty cool. We didn't know what we were doing, but I took history of English language, and the professor would kind of tell us like, this letter means this, and this is the way you place your tongue to do that. And it sounded like we were from a movie, and it was so cool. So it's really cool that you had that experience, and now you almost have the linguistic training to do.
I don't know like the exact like terminology or anything like that. It's not like, oh yeah, it's the diphthongs and the umlauts or whatever. I'm like, just put your tongue here and maybe it'll sound a little bit. Or like make this part a little late here and can you got yourself a little bit of a lisp.
5 characters just by mouth placement. It's awesome.
I tried making a video of like, or I want to make a video. I don't know. I haven't actually tried, but I want to make a video of like talking through different accents, and voices. I mean, like, because like there's some that are very close, but not close geographically. Does that make sense? Like
you should totally do it. I would be interested. I would love to learn from you.
I don't know how to teach it, but I can try.
You can do it. You can shape old minds, and you can make them sprout old flowers, dusty flowers for dusty
butterflies
to pollinate.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much, Quintin. It has been so much fun talking to you. Thanks. Everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening to the stories that Quintin has to say today, or had to say today. And it was so much fun to learn more about you, because I had no idea. And now I'm excited because the videos are totally going to come out, and we're totally going to learn new ways to say different things, and we're going to get educated.
I should not have said that on camera. Now it's going to be forced to do it.
Or forced.
But I appreciate being here. This was fun.
Huh?
I was just saying, I appreciate being here, so this was fun.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. While you're here, make sure to look below. In the bio, we have some information of things going on in the area and ways that you can help out. And if you'd like to add anything to that list, make sure to message us at info@thisisimprov.com, and we'll add it to the list so you guys get help too. Make sure to also subscribe and hit the notification button so you know when awesome people like Quintin are on, and you can watch it and become educated and sprout new flowers for butterflies, and then spread the butterfly, capture them, then release them so they can pollinate. And that has been Talk About It Tuesday. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Quintin. Goodbye.